Oh, I have a list on my virtual.
All right, hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Thank you so much for joining us today. With our incredible mortgage team, we have Heidi Nolasco and Mike Santana
everybody
here with us. Literally just trying to write this for you guys. There we go. Okay, so today Heidi and Mike are going to teach you all about pre-approvals, pre-qualification, commitment, as Jerry Seinfeld would say, what's the difference?
Thank you, Amanda. Hello, everyone, and welcome, and thank you for being here. Hold on.
All right, team, sorry about that little hiccup. We're back. All right, so again, welcome to pre-qualification, pre-approval, commitment. What's the difference? We have Heidi and Mike from Caliber Home Loans who are going to teach us just that.
Okay, perfect. So I'll open up, everybody ask questions. Once we are done with it, so
Click on the PowerPoint, it'll work again. There you go.
and so, this is all about Caliber, and different things, we offer affordable homeownership, or application process. We do have a smart system. So when customers apply for a mortgage online, and if their employer, which most employers now, they use like a major payroll company like ADP and Paychex. If they agree to do electronic income, we can actually pull a report in which we might not even need to get any documentation from them. It automatically, gets pulled from the information they report into the payroll companies. And also the bank statements. The customer has to agree, but we can import both income and assets as long as they agree electronically without them having to do any extra paperwork, submitting, saving any documents. The app, it's very user friendly. They can have it on their phone. So it's pretty user friendly. But obviously if your customers are not able to, are not into technology and are not able to, get on, Mike or myself will be available to meet them in person. I tend to usually just either meet them here or wherever's closer to the customer. I know I've seen some customers from agents here in Rutherford in the Richwood office because they live in Patterson and that's kind of closer for the customer. So, we do accommodate your customers. I know all of you want your customers, to get pre-approved, but it's a process. Everything starts with that application, the customer doing the application. We do have a lot of options for your customers, conventional loans, jumbo loans, renovation, FHA, the different type of loans we have. We will, that's just really, this just kind of shows the flow of how it all works, right? We either pre-qualify you, we pre-approve you. I don't like pre-qualifications, and which is why I wanted to show you guys as to what the difference between these two is. Why is that there? I need to get this out. Okay, there you go. So, there you go. So before your customers go shopping, right? So very simple. Some of them would like to just give me a letter, right? You know, and sometimes when they just insist, my credit is great, I don't want to pull it. You know, I know I make the money because I'm sure you've had those conversations and like, you know, I know I qualified, I don't need to do this, right? So, you know, if they insist and you're okay with it, we can do a pre-qualification letter. What pre-qualification letter, what it means is your client just really wants a rough estimate from us based on what they're verbally are telling me, right? So I didn't verify anything. They're telling me, you know, I have about $80,000 in the bank. I make, you know, $98,000 a year. You know, and based on my Credit Karma app, you know, my credit score is this, right? So I can kind of give you a rough estimate, you know, like if you're just looking for rough estimates, we could do that, but a rough estimate, what it is, it's just a pre-qualification. And it means technically nothing. A pre-approval, right? That tells me when a customer is ready to get pre-approved, that tells me your customer is serious, right? So your customer is not only gonna do the application, you know, your customer is gonna provide us with actual documentations, pay stubs, W-2s, you know, those are easy to do. Usually those we can get back to you pretty much within a day. You know, self-employment, it's a little bit more complicated. And, you know, with self-employment, what I like doing is, you know, I kind of glance to the tax returns and I come up with what, you know, the best of my knowledge, what that income is. So I'll be able to tell you, I think this, based on what I see, most likely they're gonna qualify. However, I'm gonna do even better. I'm actually gonna submit this tax returns to underwriting. They take a couple of days to come back, those tax returns, but ultimately what that does is now we got the 100% for sure number we can utilize, right? Because Mike and I are salespeople and, you know, we review income documentation, but we actually are not able to approve loans. Loans only get approved by underwriting team. Okay, so once an underwriter reviews all that and verify all the information we collected from your customer, then that becomes a commitment, right? So not only the person that at the bank that is able to pencil in and approve it, officially approved, reviewed everything, and based on everything you provided, this is how much you get. Okay, that of itself, it's such a stronger letter, right? Because even pre-approval, I can do a pre-approval. That I can do myself, right? I've been doing mortgages for 22 years. I can read tax returns, W-2s, you know, I can read all of that and I can tell you based on what you provided, yes, I can give you this pre-approval. But, you know, we actually like taking it to the next step and we are able to go into underwriting. When we go into underwriting and they approve the file, not too many banks let you do that, you know, bring a full package into underwriting without having a contract. But what that does is that letter becomes just as good as a cash offer. Because the only thing now the customer needs to get is find a home, provide us with a contract. We will order that appraisal. So the appraisal is the condition. So contract, appraisal, and title will be your conditions and homeowners insurance, right? You cannot order title till you actually identify the property. You cannot order insurance unless you identify that property as well. So, you know, it becomes very easy. And usually when I do have a customer fully underwritten, you know, we are available to call the listing agents and be able to say, this customer already provided everything. And not only is that, does that letter says they, you know, that they're pre-approved, but they're actually underwriting approved already, okay? I guess, you know, wondering, you know, customers call all the time. I wanted to get into this because I know bunch of, a lot of new agents come to our classes, right? How do we get, to be improved? How do we get, down to your bottom line? So, the higher the score a customer has, it's the better interest rate they get. However, no one can lack an application at pre-approval process, right? You really lack loans once we identify the property. We get to determine which product customer qualifies for, right? So, in some instances, there's certain programs, like if your loan is a high balance, we can also price it. There's some products that allow us to put it on a jumbo. Jumbo loans tend to be better than high balance rates, so those are options we give the customer, right? Because every product also qualifies for, every product, based on your product, it determines what kind of documentation you're gonna need, right? Some products, like on jumbo, we might need reserves. So if they don't have it, we might end up being stuck with the high balance just because there's no reserves available. So, that is part of like what we calculate before we go into underwriting. We figure out with your customer what best product it's going to be. We're gonna check that they have the down payment, right? So I actually just had an application last week. They did the application, the income works. But the bank statements they sent me, one customer has $1,300 in the bank. The other customer had $900 in bank, right? So you want to buy a $550,000 home. Well, tell me about this money, right? So we encourage our customers to be honest with me, right? So Mike and I, you have to be honest and tell us the whole picture as to where it is. Cash for a purpose of buying a home, it's not allowed. You cannot use cash. So you cannot show up with a bag of money into a closing table. That cannot happen. So if you did have cash, there's ways around it, right? But it is important for the customer to communicate that with us, right? Because, again, I'm not the underwriter. I don't approve files, neither does Mike. We can review your scenario and then coach your customers as to what route we should go. Is it the route that, okay, maybe you have money, the money needs to be sitting in the bank for 2 months, right? So maybe your pre-approval letter today I cannot give you, but why don't you start depositing the money, right? Take a little bit of time and know that once the money has been sitting at your account for 2 months, then at that point you can get into contract, right? So we coach your customers, for that. Did you have a question?
Yes, I have a question about that payment, but you mentioned that questions at the end, so I'm not sure.
Oh, okay, no, but you raised your hand, it's okay, go ahead and ask.
No, my question is about the down payment. Let's say I have a client who's thinking about using money from the 401k to use for the down payment. So how that process really works?
So that process is very easy. So usually when they come to me, I just ask, I like to see your 401k statement, right? Because we got to make sure that one, you have the money. Once I know you have that money, I'm going to coach you to first call the 401k, right? And say, I'm thinking about buying a house. Okay, what is the best way to do it? Sometimes if you withdraw, just a withdrawal, you don't talk to them, you have to pay some sort of money. There is some plans that might let you take a loan against it at 0% interest. So you're pretty much gonna be paying yourself back.
And also it's a percentage of the money that they are allowed to take from that 401k.
Well, yes, it all depends on the 401k, and that's why it's important for you to have that conversation. First, to make sure how much money do you have available, right? You might not be able to take out 100% of it, right? Like they let you know. Say that again?
I think it's 10,000 penalty free.
No, I don't. I think every single plan is completely different. It all depends on the customer and like what income bracket and all of it is. That's why the best way to do it is I say, bring me the statement that proves me that at a minimum you have it there. The next step is you speak to your plan. Whoever your plan is, it's going to tell you what your options are with your own money. You might be able to just do, like I said, some people can do a loan against it, not necessarily you withdraw it, you pay it back. And we don't even have to use it towards your debt to income ratio that loan, because it's your own money. So every plan does it completely different, so it just really applies. You gotta call
So
whoever.
the first step is to give that the person called the 401k just to make sure they.
Yeah,
got
I'm
their
looking to
funds.
do, this is what I'm looking to do, is strictly based on, you know, me buying a house. Like I'm doing someone that's at a union, like he's a union member, and he withdrew $41,000 from his retirement. But he didn't have to pay any fees. There are some plans that will tell you, if you're gonna withdraw 30,000, right? If you don't tell them I'm buying it for the purpose of buying the house, and you just take the money, they might take 10% towards taxes, you know, at front. If you're doing it for the purpose of buying your owner occupied house, most plans won't hit you with that. They let you just take it. So that's why it's important that you have the conversation and you let them know, what are you going to use this money? Because if you're using the money to buy a house, as opposed to, let's say you wanted to use the money because you wanted to buy a car, the scenario is completely different. Your plan is going to treat you completely different on those. So it all depends on the plan that you have.
So
Yeah.
just call them. and
Yeah, just
find
call,
out.
just send us the statement, so the money's, so we
Yeah,
know
yeah,
what
for
money's sitting
us,
there.
it's, we just look at the statement. I can, like I said, every plan is different. And your plan is gonna tell you how it works for you to be able to withdraw from it. Because it is strict, you know, especially if you're gonna use it strictly for your primary home. Okay, but you can withdraw
Thank you.
from that. You know, another thing is before they even come, right? So, you know, I sometimes am able to do, we have the ability to do credit repair. So a customer comes in, you know, when would I issue a pre-qualification? Let's say based on today, right? The credit score might have been like 580, just to throw something out there. But I have ways, we have ways to be able to increase that credit score. So I speak to the customer, right? And I say, I'm going to give you a pre-qualification. If you do this and this and this, right? I'm gonna get your credit score, let's say, to a 680, right? So it's 100 points difference. The rate will look a lot better. Everything will look a lot better with the instructions as to you need to do A, B, and C. And if you complete that, right, you're gonna get this other option as opposed to the option you qualify. You know, now, factors that, you know, affect your customers, it's, you know, on their credit reports, it's, you know, payment history. You know, so if they had any delinquencies on their credit, you know, recently, that that's gonna affect their credit score, the how long have they had credit, so length of credit, it's, you know, have you had a credit card that it's been on review for 5 years, as opposed to you just applied for a credit card 6 months ago, right? But even if you haven't done that, even if you have zero credits, or there's been customers that come in with 0, they don't have bad credit, right? So there's a big difference between having bad credit and having no credit. If you have no credit, those are easy fixes, because it's just a matter of getting you to be able to apply for credit. A lot of the big banks, they give you opportunities to do secure credit cards, which technically what that means is you give them $1,000, whatever the amount it is you have available, and they're gonna give you a credit card against that money. As long as you pay them on time, they reimburse you that money back 12 months later.
How long it can take to build that credit?
It all depends, right? So if it's 0 credit score, I've seen people have a 700 credit score based on the recipe we give them in 3 months.
3 months.
Like I had a client,
There's some even recipes that can get done instantly.
yeah, like I had a client, all she needed to do was get a secured card for $300, and it raised her credit score up like 10 points, and for her to qualify. and it took like 2 weeks.
Yeah, yeah, so, so sometimes that's another time we will do a pre-qualification, right? Because pre-approved means you are ready and you got everything that's needed. Pre-qualified, we're just giving you rough estimates, right? So if it's a rough estimate based on if you complete all the tasks you're given, you can be there. Okay, so another thing that we go over this with your customers, part of getting them pre-approved, right? That to income ratio qualifies. So that to income is everything that's on their credit report liability wise, plus their proposed mortgage payment, taxes and insurance against their total monthly income. Okay, so those are things, if I verified all this, you become a pre-approval. If I don't verify all this and you just telling me, Heidi, I paid this much in credit cards, this much in a car payment, right? It's strictly based on the verbal, so.
Yeah, and please remind your borrowers not to buy anything during the process. I just had a client buy about a $15,000 Rolex watch, so we had a great conversation about how he may have to pay that off in full before closing because he may not qualify that. So just make sure you remind your clients, he has the money, so it's not that big of a deal, but he may have clients that don't have the money where it becomes an issue and they can kill the deal.
Yeah, so, documents, your customers are going to need for us to move them forward, some people are just weird, like you'll be surprised how many people start the application online, but just never give me documents. Why people do that? It's beyond my wildest imagination, but it does happen. So, if you meet with a customer and, let's say you're gonna transfer them to Mike or myself for them to get pre-approved, encourage them, right? Make sure you have all your documents because you definitely want to get pre-approved, not pre-qualified, right? Because pre-qualified really doesn't mean anything. It means you could qualify, but you also could not qualify. That's what it means. So it's kind of 50-50 chance of you getting there. So, usually we always go back 2 years W-2s. We need pay stubs within 30 days. So if you get paid weekly, we need 4. You get paid bi-weekly, we need 2.
So we are risking not closing without pre-qualifying if we are
Yes.
under contract.
Yeah, if you take somebody with a pre-qualification, you are risking that you're wasting
So
your time.
perfect example, Heidi and myself got a client this weekend. Actually, I work at open house. She got pre-qualified for $493,000. I got all the documents. We went over everything today. We sent it into the loan processor to double check our work. And right now she's not approved for $450,000 loan. Never mind $493,000.
When we know about that?
When your customer gives me all the
All the paperwork.
documentation.
Okay.
So if I verified all
All
the,
documentation to the bank.
yes,
Yeah.
if the banks review your documentation, that means they're pre-approved. If the bank did not see anything, and I feel like that's also like a key question, even for you guys, right, that are realtors, and a customer comes in, no, I'm already pre-approved, because everybody thinks they're pre-approved, right? Key question, without even getting deep into it, also, did the bank review your pay stubs and your W-2s and your bank statements? If they say no, that means
No entering.
That means nothing.
No contract.
Yeah.
no one verified anything, and therefore they're just pre-qualified. So the key question is, in simple words, have they looked at your pay stubs and W-2s and your bank statements, the bank? Right? Because that's really what it
Because then
means.
you're gonna end up
Something,
wasting your guys'
you know.
time by showing them houses because they told you that you're pre-qualified for a $500,000 house. And then you come to me, or come to Heidi, and we're like, you're not even close, or they need to do this, this, and this to get pre-approved for it. And then we look like the bad guys, and so do you guys.
What the pre-approval is basis in the credits and
Yeah, so
Little
pre-approval,
things.
right, yeah.
No, so pre-approval, it's based on everything. You pretty much, because we also have customers that come in, I don't want you to pull my credit. Well, then I can't pre-approve you if I don't pull your credit.
I have that right now.
So
Yeah,
it's
it's gonna affect
pre-approval is
my
based on, I run your credit,
because there are pre-approval and approval letter.
so pre-qualification and pre-approved. Pre-qualification, it's just you telling me, Heidi, I have a 740 credit score, I make $90,000. And I have $20,000 to put down. What can I qualify for? Right? I just gave you a number. You didn't prove that, no, I'm not proving, I'm not giving you pay stubs, W-2s. I'm not giving you tax returns, and I'm not giving you permission to run your credit. I'm just, so pre-qualification means everything is based on a verbal conversation you and I had. It does not mean
If the
Anything.
pre-approval letter means what?
that I verified all your income, I verified your credit. I verified everything, your assets,
Then
income.
everything is good.
Yeah,
And everything handed out for that,
The
for that.
pre-approval letter closes.
yep.
Yes, pre-approval letter will always close, and we do better. I like doing better.
Yeah.
We actually get you a underwriting approval, right? Because
Okay.
really, the person that puts the stamp, this customer's lendable is an underwriter. So we have the ability to send your customer's documents into underwriting to get reviewed. So at that point, we can get you an underwriting approval.
So like I have two clients right now that are TBD approved, so all they're doing is they're looking for a house right now. So once they get the house, we get the contract, we order the appraisal.
And title
And title inspection, and we can close in 14 days.
by insurance, yeah. So those are a lot stronger. They count as cash. And when we do have those customers, we will call the listing agent for you. As soon as you put the offer, you have to let us know. You know, we will tell you your customer actually provided everything, so we're getting them underwriting approved. And we will call the listing agent and let the listing agent, listen, this customer was already approved by the underwriter, everything has been provided, you know, in order to get a mortgage. So, you know, all we need is contract, appraisal, title and insurance, because that's really the only thing. So, you know, this is, if you wanted to take a picture of this, right? When a customer says, what do I need to get pre-approved?
This class doesn't come to us.
Well,
No, it comes.
Yeah, it comes
It
to,
comes, but I know, you know, some people, you know, this is handy, this is what we need to see. If your customer has this and sends that over to us, or if they happen to have it handy and give it to you, forward it to us, we'll be more than happy to review, come up with the numbers, and, you know, get that out to them.
It says additional documents may be needed.
No, these are all the documents that we need. So in order to
Okay.
get pre-approved, you need last 2 years, if you work for a company, you need last 2 years W-2s, 1 month of pay stubs. So if you get paid weekly, 4 pay stubs, you get paid every 2 weeks, 2 pay stubs.
In case the person who is self-employed is only.
Yeah, we'll just
the-
need- we
Then at
business
that
returns.
point, we need business and personal last 2 years tax returns.
and if they're
Tax,
part,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
K1s and profit and loss statements.
Okay, you know, clients' mortgage tips, right? We're just, I know Mike just mentioned it too, you know, what to do and what not to do.
Mhm.
So, you know, keep originals of all your financial documents for the past 6 months, right? Provide your earnest money deposit. So, you know, believe it or not, a lot of people just like go to the bank, get the check. They don't make a copy. I mean, thankfully, there's an attorney for that, and we always go back to the attorney, provide us a copy, you know, but just kind of little tips you have for your customers, right? They get into contract, they have to go withdraw the money for the down payment, well, just be sure to take a picture of it. You might need it, you know, it might be required, it's gonna be required by the bank at some point. notify us if you plan to receive any gift funds, right? So some people, I've had customers that, get gifts from the parents, right? So they might be short to close $10,000, but then the parents might be able to give them a gift. So, if you are gonna get a gift from someone, you have to let us know up front, because it is important to know how those funds are gonna come to you. Because like I just explained to you, and it has happened to me, customer goes to the bank, withdraws $10,000 and gives cash $10,000. They just feel like it's quicker. No.
So how do you prove where that money is coming from?
If the customer, that's, you're right. I cannot prove where cash comes from. Therefore, the best way to do it is they write you a check. If they just write you a check, yes, it might take 2-3 days for it to clear the bank, but that's how we're gonna be able to paper trail
Like
money.
conventional loans, we just need a copy of the check, or
Mhm.
FHA loans, we need a copy of the bank statement.
For the customer,
For the
for the
person
person
giving the
that's
gift.
giving you the gift also. Yeah. Things not to do, okay? Don't deposit cash into major bank accounts without telling me first. So again, it's important that you tell your customers when you first meet them, be honest with the mortgage loan officer, because they'll be able to guide you on how to get you approved. Some people hide it and then they just tell you and they just feel like it's not gonna come up. You have to tell me everything.
So if someone puts a lot of cash in their account, then they have to prove that amount of money, right? Where that money comes from.
Yes.
Yeah, we have to
So
source it.
the money needs to be sourced. That's why, again, there is ways, right? I've had a customer, he came to me November. He wanted to get pre-approved. He owns a mechanic shop. So he gets a lot of cash money, right? Sometimes they pay him cash. All the credit card transactions come into the bank. So, the problem is I can't source this where it came from, right?
What about the receipts? Finding the receipts about it.
Then you would have to deposit it into the business account, right? If you kept the cash at home, how can I break down
No, I know,
$100,000? I
Yeah,
cannot break
The
it down.
person deposited a good amount.
No, so
But
at that point,
he has receipts about that money.
if it's just one transaction and it comes, it's business wise, yes, in this case, I have $100,000, more than $100,000 in cash that he accumulated over years, right? That, one transaction, somebody changed brakes, $1,000, you have the receipt, that's one, but this is $100,000. So the best way to treat it is, obviously you have a business, so when you go deposit, it's legitimate to say your business gets paid cash. So you just go ahead and deposit little by little, not 100,000 at once, because they're gonna ask you for paperwork at the bank, but
Correct.
start depositing. And what we're gonna do is, we're really not gonna start your pre-approval process till we're gonna start with him in February, right? Because he was putting it in November. Once we start in February, I'm only gonna look back for December and January. What happened in November in that bank account, I'm gonna have no idea, because I won't even be able to see the bank statement, right? So that's, so that's when a customer might be, sometimes they're like, oh, but can you give me the letter so I can go see houses, right? And that's when I give you a pre-qualification, right? And I call you the realtor to say, the reason why he's pre-qualification is because the money's not sourced in season. So right now, he cannot get into contract, because if we got into contract today, I am going to ask to see November and December. And I'm gonna see everything that happened in December. And obviously those cash deposits cannot be used towards this transaction. Okay, so, but if we're in clear that this is just so the customer could see things, right? You cannot get into contract, but then at the same time, what good does it do you to take somebody out to see a house if they really cannot purchase it right now, right? So at that point, we just know we're gonna be on hold and we just gotta wait 2 more months, right? If you waited this long, what's 2 more months, right? 2 more months, it's nothing. So, and Mike and I are here. You have customers. I know, there's a couple of new faces here, so don't be shy. you're gonna become an expert on finding homes and studying the market, so you can help your customers put a good offer out there, that's gonna be your job. Our job is to make sure your customer can qualify to get that money, so we don't expect you to know, for you to know all of this. We just want you to have an idea, but really you should just, every customer, you just say, talk to them, they can tell you, because every customer situation is different, and we can definitely guide your customers. Do you have more questions?
No, the person that asked you about the money, because a lot of people have cash, they have a lot of savings at home. Sometimes they got business and they don't really report all that money.
Yeah,
So that's good to know, like that is.
yeah. Yeah, and I think as long as you don't deposit $5,000 in one shot,
So, yeah, so what's the minimum or what you recommend?
I think it's
that
50, I
deposit?
think it's 50% of what you earn a week or earn a paycheck. That's what Jane told me.
oh,
So
no,
a
that
person
is
made
for us,
8,000.
no, that is for us to question it.
Oh, okay.
Meaning, we will let you have cash deposits of 50% of what you earn and not question where it came from.
Right.
But for the banking purposes, as long as you deposit under $5,000, the bank's not gonna ask you anything, especially, so let's say you have, like this guy, banks, his business, he banks with Wells, right? So all the tellers at Wells know him. They know he owns the business, so, you already come in to deposit checks. If you deposit that cash, they're not gonna question you because it's part of your business, right? Obviously, if it's someone that doesn't own, like a business, they might ask questions, but it's, as long as you don't deposit over 5,000, you will be fine at the bank. The bank cannot question you, yeah.
It happened to us recently.
Oh, it
My
did.
husband did like 7,000 for something.
Yeah.
And the bank questioned.
There you go. So,
Yeah. And he goes, and I'll do less and then I'll do again. Bank said, please don't do stuff like that.
yeah.
Otherwise you will get more questions.
Yes, yeah, so. So it's just, it's important for your customers to just be honest up front. We need to know the whole picture. I mean, that's the best way to help them and be able to guide them on how to gear and present the mortgage. So. Any other questions? Okay, well, if you think of anything else in the future, I know Mike is here most days, I'm here 2 days a week. And if I'm not here, there's my information, you can reach out to me. Okay, so. Have a great day. How do
Thank you.
end this?
Thank you.
Do you know how to end it?
Yeah. Stop sharing. And
Oh, we didn't ask them if they had questions.
Ah.
See,
They-
this
they
is
still
why
there.
I can't do
They
systems.
still there. They still there.
Ask the mic, hold on. Ladies, do you have any question?
Thank you, Ada.
Oh, thank you.
I missed 15 minutes for beginning of the part. We reviewed the eligible recorded one, the
Yes.
tomorrow.
Yes, Amanda was recording and I believe she's able to send it out to you guys. So I'll tell Amanda to send it over.
Thank you so much, Ada. You are awesome.
Thank you.
Martha.
that's everybody. All right.
Okay.